ventricular septal defect. There is aorta receiving blood from both aorta receiving blood from both ventricles, and the last one is going to be an enlarged right ventricle. And the next one will be hypertrophy, means enlargement. Hypertrophy is enlarge. Hypertrophy of the right ventricle. So this is the and you know, I don't know how well they correct all this stuff. I don't really know how well they correct it. Tetralogy. Tetralogy means 4. Tetralogy of below is the way this goes. All right, now then, there is the coarctation of the aorta, a narrowed area right here. Look at this. Can y'all see it? You see the narrowed area of the aorta? Ductus arteriosus remains. Now that is this thing right here. See the ductus arteriosus, everybody. Here's the pulmonary thing right here. Pulmonary. There's the ductus arteriosus. Remains of patent, ductus or patent, whatever. Ductus arteriosus. That tube stays between the pulmonary artery and the aorta. So a lot of this blood is going. It should be going to the lungs. The oxygenated blood is getting into the aorta. So that has to be corrected surgically. And then right here, atrial septal defect, that would be the foraminal valley. That one doesn't show that foraminal valley. I don't know if that's got a name, just foraminal valley fails to close. And then down here, tetralogy of Fallot, excuse me. A stenosed pulmonary valve. I had it in my notes, maybe stenosed pulmonary artery, but I think stenosed pulmonary valve, it doesn't work right. Interventricular septal defect. The aorta emerges from both ventricles. The aorta is where it's aorta is getting there's blood right there from the right ventricle, from the left ventricle. The aorta emerges from both of those, and an enlarged right ventricle. That's tetralogy of Fallot. Those are congenital things. There are other things. Golly, there are so many other congenital, born with type things, and so forth. So that just kind of gives you a little rundown on that. Now there is a ventricular septal defect right there. Ventricular septal defect. And again, now all this here. Now size, location, position, there's nothing really to do about it. Alright. Our heart weighs about 11 ounces. That's not a whole lot, is it? No. About 11 ounces. You know about how much that weighs. That's not even a pound. About 11 ounces. Alright. Now I will say this. This heart, a person who exercises a lot can have an enlarged, healthy heart. There can be an enlargement of the heart muscle, a healthy type of enlargement. But a person with congestive heart failure many times have a flaccid enlarged heart, an unhealthy enlarged heart. It's not doing right. It's flabby. It's flaccid. And that's, that's not good. All right, but anyway, at birth the heart measures about 1 inch and weighs, look at this, y'all. At birth, the heart of your baby weighed about 3/4 of an ounce. That is hard to comprehend, isn't it? Isn't that hard to comprehend? About 3/4 of an ounce, and it's pumping blood. It's doing what our hearts are pumping blood everywhere, receiving blood, blah blah, doing it, you know. All right. Then location. Well, you know this. Our heart is located obliquely. Here's the sternum. Here's the midline. A little bit to the left. A little bit to the left of the midline, right here. The apex is the pointed end. Pointed end is going toward your left hip. The base end is going toward your right shoulder, and that's the way it's located. All right, so then we just have that, and it's in an area called the mediastinum. I put about 2/3 of it to the left of the midline. That's no big deal there. The anterior border is the sternum, the breastbone, posterior vertebral column. Okay, and then the position, broad upper base is directed. I've already told you this. The base goes toward the right shoulder. The apex toward the left hip. We've already gone over that. No big issue with that. All right. It lies between the 5th to the 8th thoracic vertebra. All right. Remember, there's 7 cervical, 12 thoracic, 5 lumbar, and 5 fused sacral vertebrae. So you have it going like that. Okay. So there it's kind of showing the thing right there. That's out of your book by Totora, and that's kind of giving you an idea of the location of your heart. That is like the left anterior descending. That is like the widowmaker right there. Okay? And this is just kind of giving you an idea of this. We'll talk about bypass surgery, bypass grafting, how that works a little bit later on. We'll get into that somewhat. Okay, so there you have that. Now, coverings, we've talked about this. The pericardium. Pericarditis is inflammation in the pericardial sac. That can be very, very painful. Pericarditis. Now, I will tell you another real good story on this one in just a minute. All right, okay. The pericardium, you have a fibrous pericardium. It's an outer layer and inner layer to the fibrous. Then there's the visceral pericardium. And that visceral, the heart's in a sac. And I cut that sac on some of your cat hearts a while ago. All right, it's in a sac, and it allows it for it to do this. Like that. All right, now watch this. Seriously, okay. Okay, fibrous pericardium resembles a bag, prevents the heart from overextending, and so forth. Serous mesothelium, thinner, more delicate. Okay, it's a double membrane thing, and here's the way it looks. There's a parietal layer directly beneath the fibrous pericardium, and the visceral layer is the epicardium. I'll show you a picture of this. All right, pericardial cavities between the parietal and visceral, and I need to show you this, though. All right, pericardial fluid is in there. All right, no pericardium. Okay, I won't talk about this. Cardiac tamponade. I won't explain that to you in just a minute. All right, our interesting concepts. All right, now right here it is. All right, here's the pericardium. Right here's the fibrous pericardium. There's the fibrous. This is the parietal layer of the serous pericardium. It's against the fibrous. And here's the visceral layer. That's the same thing as epicardium. There's myocardium. There's endocardium. There is the pericardium. That's the way that looks. Now you need kind of, okay, there's a fibrous. The fibrous pericardium is what we cut. We cut through that, but we couldn't see this. But the parietal layer of the serous pericardium is against that. Here's the visceral layer of the serous pericardium. That's the same thing as epicardium. And there, right in there is the pericardial cavity. And when the heart goes, y'all know the name for this, don't you? What's the name for this? Systole. Okay, systole, or systole, and diastole, or diastole. I just say systole, diastole. Systole, diastole, systole, diastole. All right, well, let me show y'all, and I'll mention this to you. All right, now let me show y'all. I want to mention, it goes on to this, but let me show you this right here. I want to mention this to you right here, where that gets in the heart wall. Notice that term, cardiac tamponade.